Good morning. Welcome to Good morning. Welcome to Theodore Parker Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Allison Gottlieb, and I've enjoyed being part of creating theology together over the past 2 months. As we enter into worship, we bring with us all of the joys and sorrows of our week. I apologize. I can't see with glasses or without glasses, so I'll just have to memorize everything. And we know that here we are held in loving community. Here we are reminded that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in a bruised and broken world. Here we invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. For those joining us in person, a few things you may want to know. Our congregation is mask optional, and if you would like to be seated in an area where others are also wearing a mask, this is the section over to my left, your right, that's reserved for people wearing masks. You can use the QR codes at either entrance or in your pews to pull up the order of service on your phone or take one of the large print copies available at either entrance. Our service is being recorded today, and it will be available on YouTube later. We will have an opportunity to share spoken joys and concerns later in our service. You're also welcome to light a silent candle of joy or concern at any time during this worship service, or use the space in the far back corner for private reflection during the service. People of all ages are welcome to move about in the sanctuary as they need to, or to make themselves comfortable in the cozy nook at the front pew. Today, children are invited to be with us during the whole service. During the service, our child care provider, Shay, is available to be with nursery-age children in the nursery located in the parish hall. Many thanks to Deanna Wong, who is our camera point person today, and to Ruth Kahn, who is our Zoom usher. If you're new to Theodore Parker Church or are visiting today, we'd love to stay in touch. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which will give you an opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and to help us welcome you. A link to the connection card will be in the chat, as well as our contact information. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill in the contact card you'll find in your pews within the welcome brochure.
We're doing things a little bit differently in today's service, and I'm going to be sharing the announcements and invitations that we usually share at the end of the service right now. As always, please join us for coffee hour in the parish hall or breakout rooms on Zoom. And we'll have an additional announcement in just a minute about the plant sale and the plants that are available during coffee hour today. Also today at noon, there's going to be an info session on the proposed bylaw amendments. So those are some changes to our congregation's bylaws that we'll be voting on during our annual meeting on June 9th. On June 29th, Theodore Parker Church will participate in the annual celebration of grassroots organizing at First Parish in Dorchester. Please speak with Dave Harrington or Kevin Murray for details. Sooner than that, tomorrow, on May 20th, there will be a very special event with the author of Tracing Homelands, Israel, Palestine, and Claims of Belonging. I believe that's in the parish hall here tomorrow evening. I'm going to invite up Jen to give an additional announcement about our plant sale yesterday.
Thank you. Good morning. The plant sale was extremely successful this year, and without my glasses, I'm going to read this. Are they? Oh. There we go. That really helps. Thank you. That's why I keep her around. So I want to thank for all the books that were sold, and then all the people that did the pricing and the hot doggers and the baked goods and the baked good women, everyone back there. Brian, his music just really made it, and all his compost. All the volunteers and plant buyers and donators and the potting crew at my house, because we potted about 220 plants from my house. So that was that was so great. And I especially want to thank two people that really stuck out that have never been a part of this, which is David Smith and Anne Marie Thomas. Can you two stand up? Where are you two? There. Oh, here they are, look. They were fantastic. So there's going to be a short sale after church, and it's going to be then also cleanup. And we have a few people signed up, but more would help. And then there's the meeting, and I was thinking that we could sell all the compost left for $75. So whoever wants all that compost, that would be great. So thank you, everybody. Oh, so far we've made $3,400.
Thank you so much, Jen.
So now we'd like to take a moment to greet one another.
Allison, do you mind? I wanted to introduce the service first.
I'm sorry.
Then we will greet one another. It didn't put it in your script, so sorry. Last minute addition. I just wanted to introduce, we do have a special service today with a particularly large number of participants, many of whom you've already seen. This service is the sort of culminating project of an adult religious education course that we've been running this spring called Creating Theology Together. In this course, we invited participants to explore the religious frameworks they were given in childhood, to explore what they believe in now, and to enter into deeper community and connection with one another by engaging in theological dialogue grounded in Unitarian Universalism. Our full class cohort included Pat Hamilton, who's not able to be here today, Anne Marie Thomas, Mary Beth Noonan, Nancy Wilbur, Mary Ann Millsap, Rebecca Priest is also out of town, Karen Kirchhoff, David Smith, and Allison Gottlieb. So you'll hear from many of those folks throughout the service today as I share readings and reflections from their experience. It's been really a pleasure to lead this course. I'm really glad we get to share part of the experience with you all this morning. Okay, now over to Allison to open our welcoming.
Okay, so now we'd like to take a moment to greet one another here and off-site as one congregation. For those of you on Zoom, putting your video on for this time helps us connect. Sanctuary people, please turn and wave. The camera is under the clock on the back. Is this up? Okay. Off-site people can see you on their screens. Now, okay. We do have the gallery screen up. Okay. Folks in the, okay. So turning back, folks in the sanctuary, you can see our off-site congregation better. We ask those of you off-site to wave back. Maybe it's already, you've done that. Now, as we continue to greet each other, if online, you may post a hello in the chat. If you're physically in the sanctuary, we invite you to greet one another and say good morning. And please greet one another, wait a minute, and please ask, here's the glasses problem. And please ask for consent before offering a hug or a handshake. And following the greeting, we will ring a chime and ask you to be seated. And the prelude will begin. Should we go ahead and have the greeting first? This is a different script. Sorry, the script is not yeah. So then it's a little bit more. Okay. I didn't read it. I'm sorry beforehand. When the chime rings, can I just say mention the people.
I think she'll probably just go into play.
Okay.
You can try to squeeze it in if you want.
I wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah, we haven't quite smoothed that out yet.
Okay.
I think there's an attempt to say, like, okay, if we do the waving first, we see off-site somehow. Like, I think that could be a better flow, but we're not used to it yet.
Well, I apologize for not including you in this because I was expecting it to be the same as I did before. Is it darker than usual in here? Well, of course it doesn't help because I can't see anything. Today, Yukiko will play from Sonata 330 by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Read the check. This is called A Spacious Welcome by Sherry Woodbury. Welcome, who come in friendship, who long for genuine community.
May you be graciously received here as your authentic self.
Welcome, who come in curiosity, full of questions, or simply open.
May you embrace wonder and encounter new delights.
Welcome, who come heavy with fatigue, weary from the troubles of the world or the troubles of your particular life.
May you rest and be filled in this sacred space.
Welcome, who come with joy for flowing rivers and gentle breeze, for changing skies and great trees.
May the grace of the world leave a lasting imprint on you.
Welcome, who come with thanks for the altruism of the earth and the gift of human care.
May your grateful heart overflow and bless those around you. Do it together.
Come,
let
let
us
us celebrate together
this
wondrous life.
Knew we screwed it.
Okay.
Now this is
Okay.
yours.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, Building Bridges. It's number 1023 in your teal hymnal, and the words will be up on the screen.
And let's do it one time through in unison, and then we'll do a two-part round, so group one and group two. Okay, and we'll do that twice as the round, okay? Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our vision, friends, we would make such sweet harmony. Here's group one. Building bridges between our Group two. Building bridges between our divisions. Will you reach out to me with all of our voices and all of our building bridges between building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
During each TPC service, we say our covenant 2 times, the second time with thought of our sibling community in Plazuelas, El Salvador. Today, we bring a special intentionality to our English version of our shared covenant in honor of each other and our deepening spirit of connection to each other. Please join in saying our shared covenant, first in English and then in Spanish. The words will be on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
I'm David Smith, a new member of Theodore Parker. That better? I guess so. Jessica York, a UU religious educator, writes, "We believe that the search for meaning in our lives does not call for beliefs that are set and formed, but for beliefs that already make sense within our own experiences, wisdom of the world, and our own reason. This is a faith that develops over time." For me, that sums up the philosophy behind the Creating Theology Together class. The search for faith and an exploration of our theological perspectives in a group process seemed like a huge undertaking. As I understood it, the process would involve developing a deeper understanding of the integration of self into a group. We did this through voicing our beliefs and by listening to each other. We hope to develop a theology based on shared values and beliefs through this process. The class brought together people who knew each other well and a couple of us who were new to the church. I joined the class to learn more about what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, and to meet people who are members of Theodore Parker. I signed the book on New Member Sunday. In the CTT class, we explored our religious traditions, both as children and adults, and found those traditions included Catholic, Quaker, Buddhist, Christian Scientist, Presbyterian, and other Protestant denominations. Yet, despite the diversity of our traditions, we were supposed to develop a common theological perspective. That began with a covenant of how we would proceed together. That covenant helped us to establish a rapport which encouraged openness and acceptance. I felt comfortable having open and frank discussions within the group. In our exploration, we touched on many themes. Theology, of course, was one of those themes. Theology is hard to pin down, and I'm not sure we created a brand new theology, but by exploring our own beliefs and exploring theology together, we created a unique and meaningful group experience. Discussing theology led to a conversation about what we believed about a higher power. As you might expect, we did not come to a single view on this topic, though my own belief is that there is some force behind the manifestation of the world, though I don't know whether it's the laws of science, the laws of nature, or some unknown entity which some people call God. We talked about liberal and change theology, and I realized that belief without action would not do. That one of our shared values was service, service to each other, to the church, to the community, and by extension, to the issues and problems facing our society and the world. Another theme was the spirituality of connection, the togetherness of the class title. In exploring our religious beliefs, the spirit of connection was a key factor. By sharing and listening to each other, I sensed that we became connected. It was this connection, this togetherness, that made the class a positive experience for me. And the Wednesday meetings was something that I looked forward to. And I miss them now that the class is over. Thank you.
Step. It's okay. Thank you, David. We'll find a solution for that step one day. We now enter into a spirit of meditation and prayer. And as we do so, I invite you to deepen into this moment here and now. Feel the earth's gentle gravity holding you. Take a few nurturing breaths. Give yourself over to this time of stillness. I invite you to remain seated and join in singing our centering hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which blends our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice, strive to make us free.
We come into community to share our lives and our hearts with one another. One of the ways we do that is to offer opportunities to share what brings us joy as well as what brings us sorrow. In sharing, our joys are multiplied and the burden of our sorrows are lightened. Many weeks we have the opportunity to share joys and concerns in a written format. And this week, as we do on a monthly basis, we have our opportunity to share joys and concerns in a spoken format. If you have a joy or sorrow that you would like to share, I invite you to come forward to this microphone, to light a candle, and to share with us what is on your heart. If you are joining on Zoom, I invite you to type your joy or concern in the chat, and I will read it and light a candle for you. I'm going to begin by sharing a concern that I've already received in the chat from Marcia Feldman. She writes, "A concern for my sister-in-law, Barbara, who fell and had to have surgery to fuse her spine. Please envision her return to good health."
Hi, I'm Jessica Mink, and I have a great joy that, that I spent last Sunday celebrating my mother's 97th birthday, and I actually didn't get my ticket to go out until just like about a week before because she had a heart attack early in April, and I wasn't clear when I'd have to fly out. but by the time I got there, she was in pretty good shape. She'd been in rehab, and she moved into a assisted care apartment, which we knew was going to happen sooner or later, and that was when it happened. But she was happy, and it was really fun to celebrate with her and my siblings. So that's my great joy.
My name is Mary Russell, and I want to share a joy. I had the great good joy this week of going over to the Jennifer's house and seeing their gorgeous garden, get to pot up all these plants, to just be in the wonderful joy of the garden and all the sharing that the Jennifers do with us. So great good joy. Thank you so much.
I'm going to share a candle of concern from Tom online, Tom Keidel. It's a candle of concern as my brother-in-law, Bob Lawson, begins to stay in rehab. He has successfully had a brain tumor removed and is doing better at this time.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I have a couple. One is for Natalie. Some of you know that she is a slam poet and does slam poetry competitions, and she, a couple weeks ago, made the team that is going to go to the national competition in Washington, D.C. this summer. Yeah. And this one is for my Aunt Joanne, my favorite aunt, my mom's sister. I was able to be with her for the end of her life this past week, and I grew up with 8 cousins, all boys, and me, and so my aunt spoiled me and would slip me all the little girly things, and every time I saw her, she never failed to say, "You're such a good mom." And also, when we found out that she was on hospice, I needed to try to figure out how to get my mom there from Syracuse to Keene, New Hampshire. And I woke up in the morning, and Dave had left at 3 in the morning. And he drove to Syracuse, and he got my mom, and he brought her to Keene.
Some of you know my grandson, Ben, who is a senior and graduating on June 2nd. So that is definitely an important joy. He also found out that he is going to go to Syracuse on a full ride scholarship. So very exciting. I have a second joy, which is that I have decided to take an adventure. In June, I'm going to drive to Indiana and see good friends, good old friends that I haven't seen for 15 years probably. And I'm taking a month to do it so slowly and enjoying every minute. And it's a long time desire to do this kind of a trip, so I'm doubly excited.
I have 2 candles. One is Happy Birthday, Mom. She would have been 97 today, and I wish her a happy 97th heavenly birthday. And the other is for all of you married to gardeners. I sympathize with us. We're all garden widows.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Wren, and about 3 weeks ago I had a big concern here and did a dipsy doodle in the house, and here I am. It's healing. The big joy is that I don't need surgery. The other thing is that I am so grateful for all the assistance that you all have provided, either physically with food and transportation and letters and whatever, emails. But I was allowed to rest. I could really just kick back and take care of I did nothing actually, which is really hard for me to do. But it's probably, it has enabled me to heal. So thank you very much. Oh, one more little joy. I came back from work Friday night kind of late. I have odd hours at work. And I realized then that I had not contacted the Jennifers to drop off my donation. And so as I was traveling quite quickly down Curry, I saw the lights on and slammed on the brakes, took a right, and I went, and this one here, Jennifer, was working, burning the candle at both ends. So she helped me get the thing into the building, and when I walked in, it was magical. It was magical. And it brought me such joy, and I saw it before anyone else Saturday morning, but so I hope you all had a good day. It sounds like you did. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Joy, and I mentioned before about little 2-year-old Gwenny who had a brain tumor, and I use the word had because she actually had surgery, and although she's going to have complications from the surgery, she got through the surgery, and after 2 going in there's, they got it all. She'll be starting chemo with the harvested cells. So this is for continued success in fighting.
This is a joy for grandchildren. My 2 older grandchildren in Maine, who are 18 months apart, but they are both graduating from high school, homeschooled high school this year. One got a certificate already from a community college. She's just turned 17 a few days ago, but in nursing, and she's decided to go to University of Maine and get a 4-year degree in nursing. And my grandson is this is a very Christian family, and he's going to a Christian college in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's never been away from home by himself, but that'll be a big adventure for him. And then my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter in West Roxbury, who is going to go to Boston Latin Academy next year. That was pretty exciting for the family and for her. And of course, her younger sister, just to not leave her out, loves drama, and if you go to any of the children's plays at Riverside Theater, she's probably in it.
Hi, I'm Deb. This is a joy and a thank you to the generosity of the people in the congregation who made the Walk for Hunger a big success, the Mother's Day Walk for Peace a big success, and the One for Three raised money for projects in the West Bank of Palestine a great success. Thank you to the generosity of this church. And a sorrow for all of the students who've been protesting what's happening in Gaza and are facing pretty dire expulsion, all kinds of other things, our own Kevin Murray's daughter, Claudia, and many others.
I forgot two people. Allison McNabb and Maggie Brobeck. These are the two women that this is the first time they've been a part of this plant sale, and they were incredible, those two. And also I want to tell you the plant sale is not over for me until every plant goes into its home. So I'd like you all to buy all the plants. Thank you.
I'll light one final candle for all of the joys, concerns that remain unspoken but are felt in our hearts. Let's join together in prayer. We have words this morning for our prayer from the poet Wendell Berry, selected by Creating Theology Together class member Rebecca Priest. This is The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go down and lie where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water and feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Together, we rest in a moment of shared silence, followed by our musical meditation.
Have we been doing theology together this morning? I invite you to join in creating theology together. Sometimes I don't think what we're doing here is theology at all. Like we sang a song of Michael's, one that he composed. What can you do when things go wrong? How do we know we can belong? You may remember these words. Michael's answer, we will be there when things go wrong. We'll let you know you belong. All of your struggles are real. You can't help the way you feel. All we can do is keep each other strong. I thought it was a great song, great values. Theology? Wait a minute. It doesn't mention God. It doesn't mention religion. Isn't theology the study of God and religion? Number two, I didn't think it was theology because, you know, I come from a Christian background, and Christians, Muslims, and Jews, theology, the people of the book, theology often interprets written sources and usually ends up written. Intellectual, maybe academic. Michael's words are set in and draw from human experience, a core source for UU theology. Our theology seems to me less in a book than in our being. 3, other theologies are held for worshipers in a creed or a particularly important verse. Michael's words do partially restate our chalice lighting. You know, we care for each other. I hadn't thought about the chalice lighting in terms of theology except for the nots. Not God, not a creed. UU religion is based on our covenants and principles. How important, though, a covenant is for a religion that is open to creating theology together. It must reflect our changing lived experience and be done by all of us. Living theology is what the song and chalice lighting are. I joined Creating Theology with class largely because I felt lonely here in my spiritual being. I expect others have at times too. We often talk about creating our individual theologies, our individual ways. What's the commonality? We allow differences in religious and spiritual beliefs, but we seldom talk about those differences in any way that really articulates them to one another, let alone our commonalities. So what do I see in Michael's song now? I'm feeling some connecting threads that were missing for me before. I see the divine in each of us, the troubled and the strong parts of us in each, all of us being heralded, affirmed, and supported by one another. The Universalists had a theology of universal salvation. I interpret it as we all are and we all belong to the divine. We arrive with and we do not lose, we never forfeit that divine spark. We may interpret that spark differently, you know, as physical stardust, as our inherent worth, or as something more, and I do the more. Through an attentive presence and relationship to life, beings, nature, the universe, I feel in my experience an ever-present divine force that I'm willing to call God. In fact, that it helps me to call God. As we sing, as we light the chalice, share candles and other parts of the service, we create, or at least affirm, our theology, what has ultimate value for us. We bring it alive through our minds, hearts, and bodies. We allow it to draw out the tears, love, compassion, courage, or shouts of joy, whatever is coming from our depths in that time. Regardless, being vulnerable to what is real in our lives individually brings us onto holy ground together. Doing so with others was the joy of the Creating Theology Together class. A couple of weeks ago, we sang the hymn, Meditation on Breathing, breathing in, breathing out. It was gorgeous. My experience of it was magical, pointing to a kind of capital M mystery. Like many, this mystery is actually lessened by the words I will use to capture it. But paradoxically, the words also help me reconnect with the experience. I felt the voices and harmonies around me, washing over and through me. I felt us as one body, us approaching a mystical oneness. The air to me was alive. Yet I could pick out the individual voices near me. The beauty came from the union of these different voices, as each voice held a part. Each of us brings our unique being to TPC. We can develop and pull on threads of connection and belonging. We can reflect on them together to discover more about our union. We can create living theology together, perhaps also find words for it, the words for us.
Generosity is a spiritual practice at our Unitarian Universalist congregations. This month, our theme of pluralism honors our sacred diversity. We respect different experiences, cultures, and theologies, and strive to accept and acknowledge our differences, exploring and learning from many perspectives. Each of us is blessed. We gain by finding more in what others offer. We give to remember that we are a part of something bigger than ourselves. We are a vast rainbow bursting into view. We give with gratitude for all that we have been given, and with the faith that together we have more than enough. Links to donate will be in the chat, or you can take a moment writing out a check and sending it to the church. Ushers will be coming around the sanctuary to collect the offering from those in the pews who wish to donate as you are able. Okay. What? Yes. Oh, that's right. This says as Yukihiko. Okay, so the choir will be singing right now, one voice, as the ushers go around. Sorry, the script's been changing in where it's a little confusing.
I took this course because I was drifting spiritually, partly just drifting, and partly out of alarm and concern for our world. It was healing for me to revisit the religious tradition I was brought up in, to acknowledge that I couldn't say that I believed the creed of my Presbyterian church. During our meetings, we witnessed each other. We were heard and seen without judgment. I was really struck by the power of creating for myself my own theology, that I am allowed, even encouraged, to create. In a way, this shouldn't have been new to me. I mean, after all, I have been coming to this church for 25 years. But tradition is hard to break, and it's kind of built into our unconscious. I was also struck by the power of expressing myself in a group, and then to realize I belong. We belong. We have the power to create theology together. Choice, the power to create, is a radical and incredibly empowering idea. And it's helping me to recenter and to drift less. It's like putting an intention into the world. This is who I am. This is what is important to me. These are my values. I wanted us to sing one voice, not only sung by the TP singers, but by all of us. And we will do that at the end of the service. As you heard, one voice is not a solo. It is all of us, to help each other to make it through, to surrender to the mystery, to sing with love and the will to trust. And to me, this is our spiritual journey together. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. So in planning this service together, the wonderful folks who have been a part of this class of creating theology together wanted in some way, in addition to our words, to share some of the experience of connection and belonging that we've been speaking about and that we created in our small group with all of us gathered here today. And we know that connection is not just experienced in our heads, but it is felt in our hearts, in our bodies. In that spirit, I'm going to invite everyone here to join us in a ritual of connection. It's going to require a little bit of moving around in this physical space. It's a little bit of a trust the process kind of moment. I'm going to invite you to do a few things and we'll get there. Hope you can stick with me. This ritual is in part inspired by the Quaker tradition of Allison's childhood. It's like the kind of the Quaker grace that she would share with her family before meals. So the first step is for all of us physically gathered here to get connected in some way, maybe holding the hand of the person next to you, if that's comfortable, or you could hold someone's shoulder or elbow. If you prefer not to touch someone physically, that's totally okay. You're still in our circle in spirit. But those who are comfortable getting physically connected, please rise as you're able or move around to meet folks who aren't able to rise. And we're going to try to get into a sort of big mismatched circle as much as we can. You can be in the pews, you can be in the aisles, whatever it's possible. I think if someone, I need to be able to see this, that's all. Somehow, it does need to be a complete circle. I know that that's tricky, but if we can fill in to the back, wonderful. Now that we're all connected, you all did a wonderful job. That was faster than I thought it would be. I'm first going to just invite you to take a moment to feel the field that we have created here. Each of us choosing to be here, choosing to enter into the vulnerable, messy process of being in community, of forging deeper connection, for the possibility that all that we create here may just be greater than the sum of our parts. As we feel into that connection, that field, a pulse is going to start going around the room. One person, who we've chosen ahead of time, so don't go rogue and do it yourself, will start by squeezing the hand of the person next to them. If you feel a squeeze on one hand, please then squeeze the hand of the person on your other side, which will pass the pulse for one person to the next, and so on. We'll hold sacred silence as this pulse is passed, as the physical energy of our connection goes around the circle. A pulse has now gone all the way around. We can release our physical connection, but please stay standing and facing one another. And I invite you to join us in singing One Voice again. This will be our closing hymn. The words will be up on the screen. We can feel our connection to one another as we sing.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
You may be seated. for our closing words and postlude.
Our closing words are by Reverend A. Powell Davies. None of our private worlds is big enough for us to live a wholesome life in. What are we, any of us, but strangers and sojourners, wandering through the nighttime until we draw together and find meaning of our lives in one another, dissolving our fears in each other's courage, making music together, and lighting torches to guide us through the dark. We belong together.